Well, this may be unexpected for some of you, but Senator Bernie Sanders has come out to defend President Joe Biden while offering some helpful suggestions about the pathway forward as Democrats grapple with how to move forward, what the pathway is in terms of whether they should replace Joe Biden as the nominee. My name is Brittany Page from The Page Perspective right here on YouTube. I am filling in for Jesse while he is in Scotland. He had to return to Scotland after coming back home to DC to be with his friend who is critically ill. We appreciate all of the very supportive, kind, and loving comments that we have received about this. It has been a very difficult time. I will be filling in. You will be seeing Jesse sometimes. I think he's going to do a few videos here and there. So look forward to him popping up. And I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel here on YouTube. So there's growing concern about President Biden's ability to beat Donald Trump. And there was a poll that we recently put up in Jesse's community tab where we asked all of you, do you support Biden moving forward as the nominee? Because this conversation has exploded in the aftermath of his post-debate performance, his post-debate appearances. There's only been more concern in his appearances. So each day brings new headlines as well about elected Democrats who are calling for him to step aside. And I want people to kind of prepare themselves because this is where the direction seems to be going. This is where the conversation seems to be going. And yet I see oftentimes in comments that it's only President Biden. It can only be President Biden. But what if there are concerns about putting down ballot races at risk or even losing the election and Donald Trump being president? So there are important conversations that are happening right now. And I want to hear from you in the comments. Tell me, do you think President Biden is the best one to beat Donald Trump? Or do you think it should be someone else? Tell me in the comments. And maybe your mind has changed. I don't know. I think it's a difficult situation. But here's what happened on the Sunday shows with Senator Bernie Sanders defending President Biden. He was asked whether he will continue to support President Biden. He was asked whether President Biden can depend on his support. Watch this.
Let me say this, and maybe the most important point, Bob, I want to make this morning. What we are talking about now is not a Grammy Award contest for Best Singer. Biden is old. He's not as articulate as he once was. I wish he could jump up the steps on Air Force One. He can't. What we have got to focus on is policy. Whose policies have and will benefit the vast majority of the people in this country? Who has the guts to take on corporate America? Who is talking about expanding Medicare so we cover dental, hearing, and vision? Who's talking about raising the cap on the taxes that people pay into Social Security so we can raise Social Security benefits and extend the life of Social Security for 75 years? Who's talking about a permanent child tax credit to cut childhood poverty in America by 50%. Those are the issues he's talked about. He's got to bring them up in the fore. He's got to promise the American people that if they give him a Democratic Senate, a Democratic House, re-elect him, he's going to do that in the first 100 days. That is what I think the American people want.
So listen, whether you are Team Biden, whether you are Team someone else to replace Biden to better beat Trump, whatever side you fall in, I think that everyone is on the same page as far as what needs to happen. And that is that we need to beat Donald Trump in November. So Bernie is exactly right on what the pathway forward is. That's why I keep saying we have to keep our eyes on the ball. We don't want to get distracted by these conversations. We know what the goal is. The goal is to beat Donald Trump. If the Democrats want to be successful in that goal, they need to focus on policies, and they need to be the party that implements the policies that improve the lives of the poor and working class. It is through those policies that they will gain support. They need to be the party that says, listen, we are the ones who have the policies that will help you, that will improve your lives. Not only do we have those policies, believe in those policies, but we're going to implement those policies. That is the thing that will support those down ballot races and ensure that we beat Donald Trump as well. So This isn't about Joe Biden and his personal feelings. I felt he gave a poor answer during that interview with George Stephanopoulos when he was asked what he would feel if he lost the election to Donald Trump. And he said something about how he will know that he gave it his best shot. When we are looking at Project 2025 and the radical reshaping of this country and losing democracy as we know it, it can't just be that someone's giving it their best shot. We need to beat Donald Trump. And I hope that we are all on the same page with that. And we don't go into this infighting that starts to happen with Democrats. I'm starting to see the center and leftists kind of come together in agreement on the pathway forward, and that's positive. But I'm hoping that collectively we can all agree on what is best. And I was happy to see Senator Bernie Sanders kind of rising above the fighting and the debates that are going on and saying, listen, the real focus is how can we improve the lives of Americans? And that's the most important thing. As the headlines keep piling up in the coming weeks, though, I think we need to do just that. Keep our eyes on the ball. This is about beating Donald Trump. It's not about fighting each other. So let's try to keep that in mind. What do you think? I'd love to know. You can call and leave a voicemail, 714-576-4054, or you can send an email to daily@dollemore.com. You can support the work on this channel by becoming a channel member for as little as $1.99 a month, or by going over to patreon.com/idoubtitpodcast. Listen, as we're going through this difficult time, I just want to say again that we really appreciate the kind and supportive comments that we have seen. I am sure that our friend will appreciate that as well. And I know that his family appreciates that right now. So thank you again. We appreciate you. And as Jesse would say, be genuine and take care of one another.